You're listening to the Hunt Stealth Podcast with Ryan Uffins, the podcast where we dive headfirst into the wild. Whether you're an aspiring hunter or an adventurer seeking the untamed, together we'll explore the strategies and stories that lead to success in the great outdoors.
I'm excited to be joined today by someone who's played a major role behind the scenes, one of the most influential lifestyle brands in the country. Baker Leavitt is the director of strategic relations for Black Rifle Coffee Company, where he's helped to build a powerhouse that's reshaped how veterans and hunters connect through media, merch, and mission. He's also an entrepreneur who's worked across real estate, branding, and political advocacy, leveraging storytelling and strategy at every level. Outside the boardroom, Baker's no stranger to backcountry hunts, rugged terrain, and the grit that comes with it. But today we're going to dive in a little bit deeper and talk about building culture through brand voice and navigating the intersection between business, politics, personal values, and again, hunting. So, Baker, thanks for joining me, brother.
Yeah, man. And I have read that about myself on ChatGPT as well. So, so good. It's so good. Yeah, man. So, yeah, dude, I'm the director of strategic relations at Black Rifle. I've been with Black Rifle for a decade. It is one of my greatest accomplishments in life. I mean, you know, I've played an important role at the company, but what I like to do when I think about brands and companies like Apple or what, I'm not comparing Black Rifle to Apple, but like you look at like an Apple, for example, and if you were to, and I look at businesses like a chessboard, and if you remove pieces from the chessboard, what would the company have, I mean, how would the game have played out? Would the company have still done what it did? Like, for example, if you remove Wozniak or Steve Jobs from Apple, there is no Apple. That's not the case with me at Black Rifle. Like, I've been very helpful in a lot of ways, but like the main people at Black Rifle were Evan, Matt, JT. Without any of them, like we wouldn't have what we have today. But like, yeah, to steal a saying from Evan Hafer, I've, contributing ounces to pounds, that swing the scale. So it's been awesome. It's been a lot of fun. We've had our hiccups and our ups and downs and PR nightmares and all that crazy stuff. But, it's really cool watching something go from a concept to a publicly traded billion-dollar company. I mean, I think this year we'll do over $400 million in sales. That's an insane amount of money when you think about it. That's an insane amount of coffee too, when you really think about it. So that's been a ton of fun. But Black Rifle is it's a brand. Like the coffee's great. I love the coffee. I drink it every morning. But what we did in the early days with Black Rifle was we created something that people wanted to be a part of and wanted to participate in. And everyone's looking for a tribe to join. And that's what we created at Black Rifle. I mean, we have the largest coffee subscription service in the world. There are 267,000 coffee club subscribers that get coffee sent to their front door every single month. And it's been a wild ride. It's been a wild ride. So I also have a consulting company called Digital Mongoose, and another that does social media and digital marketing and whatnot for companies in the firearm space and the outdoor space to a veteran community. And then I have a company out of DC called Cane Pole Media, and that's political consulting. We work with other big, huge, massive companies in their government affairs departments. And, that's really fun and rewarding work when you get approached with massive, a huge company will call you with a massive problem. And to them, we solved a problem this year for a company that saved them $400 million, $500 million in market cap. They were going to get the Bud Light treatment without question. And in about an hour, we were able to step in and just completely and totally solve the problem, which is super rewarding. But the thing that's funny.
And is that pivoting like on PR, like messaging, like what? I mean, I'm sure some of it's confidential, but
what the company. So Robbie Starbuck is taking DEI scalps, and there was a company that reached out to us about some DEI stuff. and we were able to kind of help them solve their problems, which was basically getting rid of DEI stuff. But like you have these mass, and as I like kind of climb this ladder in life, and I get older and wiser, and my network expands. I mean, I turned 50 in August. You go one of two ways. You make things really complicated, or you make things really simple. And I'm of the school of thought that the simpler the better. Normally, like Occam's razor, the obvious answer is normally the right one. So you have these massive, complicated, or what appear to be complicated problems, and you're able to kind of just offer them a very simple solution in like 30. You talk 5 minutes, and you're like, hey, well, instead of doing all these crazy things, what if you just did this and this and this, and you call this person, you get this person to say this publicly and that and that, and they're like, you think that'll work? It's like, of course it's going to work. But so what happens is like you have
things have been so overcomplicated.
Oh my God, man! It's like baseball. If you can slow the game down, you're most likely going to win. Whoever can slow it down the most. So, but like if you look at a crisis PR firm, for example, the longer your crisis drags along, the more money they make. That's what they do. So most crisis PR firms, their initial suggestion is something that will cause you more problems and cause more noise in the short term. And then they get to come in and say, oh, thank God you called us. Otherwise, you'd be screwed. These are the things you have to do. And it's never the right thing. It's just a way for them to, they're not there. They don't give a shit about you. They don't care about you. They just want to extract as much money as they possibly can from you. That's what they want to do. So the longer the crisis goes along, the more they can bill you. The longer they have a monthly retainer extending itself. So, yeah, it's been a ton of fun, man. And it just every day it gets better and better. Like I just, I have an amazing life. I live in a tiny beach town in Florida, very simple life. And I don't know that my life could get better than it is. Like I think I'm the luckiest guy in the world. It's awesome. I get to do what I love. Very rewarding. I get to work every day for a company that's really making a difference, in the veteran space. And I wish we were better at talking about what we did for veterans, like veteran advocacy and the checks that we write to veterans organizations. I mean, we spend millions of dollars a year. And I don't mean a bunch of coffee. I'm talking about in cash that we donate. And Evan's like, oh, I don't want to come across as a braggart. It's our obligation. It's like, yeah, man, but we're not bragging. We're showing people what's possible. So if Black Rifle can write a check to the Special Operations Warrior Foundation for $516,000, maybe we'll inspire someone to donate $5. Like this is what we could give. What can you give? And a lot of times, man, it's not even about money. It's like, pick up the phone, call someone, call a veteran, just have a conversation. And that's one thing that I take great pride in because I was never in the military. And like, I believe just because you didn't serve then doesn't mean you can't serve now, And, I've got several friends that I did not know they were going through anything because, those guys tend to keep stuff inside, soft guys. And they were just like, hey, dude, I want you to know that, like, I was in a really bad space and you called me out of the blue and we talked for an hour and I was having some gnarly thoughts. And I was like, I couldn't tell. You sounded normal to me. They're like, yeah. So you can, there's all kinds of stuff you can do. You can volunteer. You can write a check.
Yeah.
You can just pick up a telephone. Be nice.
Yeah. There's a couple guys that I know that have, that have been, they're SILs. Mm-hmm. And, they carry over that silent professional into their new careers. And it's hard to kind of break from that. Like you're talking about, like Evan not wanting to be like, I don't want to go be like a braggart. Look at what we're doing. But by the same token, like, I didn't serve in the military either, but I've had family members that have. I've had family members that have given their life serving this country.
Right.
And so I always look at these individuals and veterans with like high esteem because it is, some of them make the ultimate sacrifice. Oh, and putting up a ribbon and stuff like that is nice. But many of them have families, and the ones that do come home, like I just had Caleb Brewer on. I'm sure you're aware of Caleb.
Great guy.
And I mean, that dude is a freaking stud, man. And he just came back and just like went to work and just was like, hey, it's time to grind, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's just figure out what we can do. So I think it's great what you guys are doing. And I think you guys should shout it from the rooftops, because it does inspire people and businesses to, hey, maybe we could do something to add a component to where we could give a little bit towards this foundation.
Yeah. Or, I think a lot of those guys, like, weakness when you're in the teams, when you're on a team, you can't show weakness because there's always someone jockeying for your job. You don't have to throw a no hitter every single day, but like you've got to throw a winning game, and like, hey, I'm going through some bad stuff, I'm having crazy thoughts, and you got to go talk to a psychiatrist or see the doctor, and all that stuff goes in your file. So those dudes will like self-medicate, they'll drink, they'll do whatever they have to do to stay on the team so they can continue to touch the magic every single day. You mentioned Caleb Brewer. Caleb's interesting. Caleb's a double amputee above the knees. And
one's
above the knee?
One above the knee, one below. Yep.
Okay. And the thing that's interesting about him is that like he found purpose, which is archery, And I think a lot of guys that come from that high tempo world, the special operations world, their career is during the GWAT was getting ready for deployment, going to schools, training, all that stuff. And there was an end goal, which was deploying and then coming back. And there was a process, and they get out and there's no end goal. There's no process. There's no workup. There's no training. It's just like, well, heck, what do I do now? I ran amongst wolves for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, whatever the number is. And now where's my pack? I don't have a pack to join, So, I think one of the best things, I think one of the best things the veteran community could lean on is civilians, which I think when veterans get out and they cross over from the military into the civilian world, they rely on other veterans. And I think it would benefit them tremendously if they were to reach out to civilians. Because, I think even basic training or boot camp stories, I love listening to any story that they have to tell because they're always funny, like my brother he was in the military, and he said the most creative, funny human beings he's ever met were his drill instructors at Paris Island. And he said, like, the greatest, he's an MD now, and he was a Force Recon Marine, and he's been through a lot of tough schools and, trials by fire. But he said the greatest amount of self-control and discipline he's ever exerted in his life was not laughing at drill instructors and keeping a straight face just based on how funny those guys are, So that's one thing I'd love to see.
Well, they probably do. It's like they use it as like a stand-up routine. It's like laugh. Give me. Oh, you think that's funny?
Yeah. Yeah. You don't think I'm funny? Why are you not laughing? You know what I mean? Just I don't know. It's hilarious. But so it's been a wild ride. Hunt a ton, do a lot of stuff, stay active. I'm going to Melissa and I are going to Zimbabwe in August. I turned 50. I'm going after an elephant. It'll be my first time I went to Africa was in 2004. So it'll be like my 21 year anniversary of going over there for the first time. I've been a bunch between, but so going to South Africa first for a few days with my buddy. We're going to do a springbuck coal hunt, and then we're going to shoot some kudu out of a helicopter, which I've never heard of. That's going to be insane, which is what this thing is above my desk. It's a kudu, which is a big spiral horn antelope species. And then we go on the 2nd of August, we'll go back to Johannesburg and then fly to Zimbabwe. And my birthday's August the 6th. I turned 50, so we'll be hunting elephants for, I think it's like 12 days. Yeah, I'm going to do a hippo as well, and then probably a few other things. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it and can't wait. Super stoked.
Have you hunted your entire life?
I taught my dad died when I was 5, 1981, and no one in my family hunted. And I taught myself to hunt when I was 15, and I've hunted for, 35 years. now.
Yeah.
I've hunted on 4 continents.
No, that's like 45
No,
years.
35 years.
No, since 15. Yeah. Yeah,
35.
you're right.
So yes, I've been hunting for 35 years, 3.5 decades. I've hunted on 4 continents. I've hunted Australia, Central America, South America, and Africa. And I absolutely, and I think 24 states I've hunted in. Love elk hunting. I shoot 1 elk every fall. And then my passion.
Where do you do your elk hunting? Like, do you come up like Rocky Mountains?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I've hunted elk in Washington. I've hunted and killed elk, Washington State, Idaho, 3 in Colorado, 3 in Utah, 1 in New Mexico. There's one other I can't remember. I've killed 9 bulls.
Okay, nice.
2 at Deseret with Evan Black Rifle, which is in Utah. My first elk
Hey,
ever.
you guys, is your headquarters in? Well, you're not headquarters. You're out of San Antonio, correct?
No. Headquarters is in Salt Lake City.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay, I drive by your headquarters like every day. Then.
Yeah. That's it.
Right there off 21st.
Yep. My first 1144 South, 500 West. My first elk was in the East Canyon, over the counter, non-resident archery, any elk. And I shot a nice 5x6 on the first day. Of all the things in life that I have a golden horseshoe shoved directly up my butt, it is elk hunting. So I've killed 9 bulls, and I think 6 of them were on the first day.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've killed a couple really, really good ones. I got one to my left that's 381 inches.
Wow. Oh yeah. Dang.
Yeah, it's got 23-inch thirds. It's huge.
That's
huge
insane.
bull. Most meaningless elk I've ever killed too. Shot him at 312 yards with a rifle, laying prone. He was raking a tree, dropped him in his tracks. Took us an hour and 45 to get over to him. And by that time, it's like, I don't know, it just wasn't that big a deal. I mean, it was.
Was it your first day?
No,
on that one?
So I made a promise to my friends. I said, my 2 buddies, I said, I am not going to shoot anything on the first day. I don't care what it is. And they said, yeah, BS. And I was like, yeah, you'll see. I could have killed that elk with a ball peen hammer first morning. I'm dead serious. I could have killed him with a hammer. He came in solo to a Hoochie Mama cow call, hot. And my guide was like, shoot him. I said, no, man, I'm not shooting anything the first day. I don't care. I'm not going to do it. He goes, you don't understand what that is. I said, no, I can see it. It's right there. I'm not shooting it. But yeah, first elk was in East Canyon, right there in Park City.
Okay.
First afternoons. And I'm from Georgia, man. I live in Florida, but I'm from Georgia. And growing up in the South, like elk hunting is something that's like super aspirational for Southern hunters. It's like, we don't know what that is. We've never even seen one, And like, I have a theory, like when you grow up in the South, you either want to hunt out West or you want to hunt Africa. It's one of the two. And for me, it was always Africa. I was always obsessed with Africa. Like I've been a dozen times. There's something about it, man. But there's also something about an elk bugling in your face. And if that doesn't grab a hold of you at a cellular level, something's wrong with you. So, yeah, dude. So I met a guy named Eli who lived in Utah on a trip to Africa. And he's like, yeah, dude, come out here. I'll show you where to go. And so I went out there and, he was like, let's go here. And so he's like, I'm going to take my daughter this afternoon and we'll just sit you on a wallow. And I was like, all right, cool. So I had my bow and I was like, I'm just going to pretend that if an elk walks in, it's just a big deer and I'm going to shoot it like I would shoot a deer. And dude, and I went to Georgia. I'm a diehard Georgia Bulldog fan and I cannot stand Notre Dame. This is 2015 and we were playing Notre Dame in South Bend. And I had like one bar. My phone was like quasi roaming and the game kicked off. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be able to sit here and follow the game and, waste time because I know an elk's not going to walk in. Like, that's absurd. Be like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I had a hoochie mama cow call, and the game started. I was getting intermittent text messages from my brother. Okay. And so, like, they scored first and we scored, and like all of a sudden I hear this noise that I've never heard in my life. And I was like, that sounds like an elk in a mud hole, like a wallow. And it's not the one I'm sitting on. So I knocked an arrow and started sneaking down this meadow. And the meadow kind of crested the meadow. And what I'm going to tell you happened in like a split second. I looked to my right, and there was a massive cow moose. I mean, huge. And I thought, what a completely and totally ridiculous looking animal. That's obviously what was in that wallow. And then I was like, wait a minute, that animal is completely dry. And then I looked in front of me, and here come this bull elk, walking up the hill to me. And there was clumps of mud falling off of his rack. I mean, like just a kid making a sand castle, a drip castle, like just globs. He was black, mud everywhere. And so there was a tree had fallen down at the base of the meadow, and I was like, well, if he walks to my left and there's an opening over there, if he walks in that opening, I got a shot on him. And dude, he walked to that opening, and not only did he stop, he turned 5 degrees away from me and opened up that shoulder. And I sent an arrow right through both lungs. And then he ran off, and I went, oh my God, I just shot an elk. Oh, wow, I cannot believe this happened. So I pulled out my phone and recorded my legs shaking. And you can hear me go, what am I doing? This is stupid. So I was like, all right, I'm going to wait like 30 minutes. So I wait 13 seconds. And I was like, I'm going to walk over here and see if my arrow is there. Okay. So I walk over there, and I'm like, oh man, I must have missed him because I don't see my arrow. And I look left, dude, and brother, let me tell you, a 2-year-old could have tracked that elk. He cut a trail. It was like a haunted forest, just a circle through the woods. And dude, there was blood 8 feet in the air.
Just dumping.
Oh, like coming out his nose, and like it just. And so I followed the blood trail for about 85 yards, and it came to like a kind of like a power line-esque clearing, and I was like, "Where's the blood? The blood's gone. I must have gut shot him." I mean, just totally irrational, like
right.
thought. Like what? Like, so I was like, "All right, let me text Eli." So I pulled up my phone, and like I was like, I just shot an elk. And then I'm catching up on like the updates from my brother on the Georgia game. And it's back and forth. And I was like, man, we're losing. And I just gut shot an elk. Because I found some super dark blood, but in hindsight, it was mud that fell off his body. And I was like, that's gut blood. But like, if you could have seen the amount of blood and you were there, you'd have been like, dude, you are the most ridiculous human being I've ever met. Like, this thing's dead somewhere within 20 yards of us. But anyway, so lo and behold, he stopped running when he got to that clearing and then walked up 10 feet and then right 10 feet and fell over dead. So First elk, man, with a bow by myself, public land, Utah. And then I remember, man, I was like, you don't pray and ask God for stuff. That's, frowned upon, like you don't be able to ask for personal stuff. You ask him to help solve your problems. And I was like, Lord, I don't pray ever, but I shot this elk. I was like, man, if we could just win this game, this would be the best. I would never ask you for anything again. This would be the best day ever. So I'm hiking out like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 miles with Eli, and we're loaded to the gills, and his little 12-year-old daughter's with us. She's got like tenderloins around her neck, and it's holding neck meat in a backpack. And I just remember we got to the truck, and I got a full signal, and we're driving out, man, and I was just on cloud 9. And I started getting texts like, congratulations, way to go, hell of a game. And I was like, how do these people know I shot an elk? I haven't posted anything. Turns out we came back and won like at the end of the game, and I was just like, I shot my first elk. We beat Notre Dame. It's the best day ever. So And then the next year I shot one in Idaho, and then with a bow in public land, first morning, 7:15. And then hunted with my buddy for 9 more days. Did not see or hear an elk. Did not see elk poop that was older than, younger than 2 months old. So yeah, I've had a lot of good luck. But yeah, elk hunting every fall. And then we have a farm up in Americus, Georgia that I viciously hunt whitetail on. That's my favorite thing in the world to do, man. I shot a really nice whitetail in Texas last year. Shot a really nice whitetail buck at our place. Yeah, that's my thing, man. That's my jam. And then turkey hunting too is another thing I'm obsessed with. Poor man's elk hunting, which most Westerners say that's ridiculous, but you guys see flocks of 200 birds in the fall when you're out elk hunting, but you don't hunt them in the spring and they're all broken up. So I think you guys are missing out.
Yeah, well, we tried. I got a buddy who he does a ton of turkey hunting up here, and he's been trying to get me out. So, but
dude, it's like elk hunting. It's like elk hunting. It's awesome. It's so awesome. I mean, it's not an elk, dude, but like it's just you're interacting with an animal. They
similarities, call them in, and
700 pounds less. They don't weigh quite as much. They're a lot smaller.
Yeah, a lot easier to haul out.
Oh yeah, dude, it's a lot of fun. I love it. So,
we're definitely going to have to look more into that. I mean, he's diehard about it. He loves it, and there's some great places up here. I mean, it's not too far either for us to get to. But
yeah, and it's mountain birds. It's totally different, man. You guys got Merriam's up there, man. They're awesome, beautiful birds.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So tell me, what's been your favorite hunt that you've done so far in Africa?
So took Melissa 2 years ago, and like her within 2 hours. So we left. We got there first morning. It was like 19 degrees. This is in July. It's like 19 degrees. She does not like the cold. But by 11 o'clock, I'm putting on sunscreen because we're glassing and it's just the sun's out. But she, after 2 hours there on the ground, she goes, I now understand why this is your favorite place on planet Earth. So that was an awesome experience with her. She shot a couple animals and really loved it. That was great.
What is it about Africa? Like, if you were to try and like pinpoint like what the draw is for you, like the allure, like what?
It's just wild, dude. It's a wild place, man. Like, so I took her to the East Cape, which is very similar to Utah topography wise. Okay. And you go hunt in Utah and you see elk and deer and mule deer. All right. So imagine going out and seeing 20 different species animals, and you have a tag in your pocket for every single one of them. And it's just wild. That's where the first man dates back to Africa. Everything about it. Like, it's hard to, it's something about it. It just grabs a hold of you and it doesn't let go. If you go once and it grabs you, you will work diligently to return, because there's so much. Like Kevin Brittingham, who owns Thick and Possibly Q, is over there now and just shot a forest elephant, like with massive tusks. It's like he's in either the Congo or Central African Republic. I don't remember which spot, or maybe he's in Cameroon or something. But like, there's just so much diversity of species, people, the food, the accommodations. Like when you go hunting, you have bloodlust. Like, am I going to get this done? Is it going to happen? Is it going to work? Am I going to kill an elk? Am I going to kill a mule deer? Like, okay, I got 3 days left, but is it going to happen? Africa, your first trip to Africa, being on the ground 20 minutes, that evaporates. And there is no stress. There is no pressure. You're like, oh, okay, I get it. It's going to happen. I'm just waiting for the animal that I want. Now, what's super cool about Africa is that I have a saying: you take what Africa presents you. So, like, guys, that if you don't have a lot of experience in Africa, you don't hunt inches. You hunt character. And like you hunt good quality gold medallion animals, you know, versus like, oh, it's got to be a record, it's got to be an SCI book, blah blah. You don't know what you're looking at. You have no idea. So if you're asking the guide, like, hey, is this a good one? You know, like blah blah blah. You know, like when you're hunting and you just reach for your bow or your rifle because you see the animal, you're like, oh, that's it, that's the one, no hesitation. That's kind of how Africa is with the right mindset. Like I've got a 17-inch bush buck right here on my wall, which is world class. The one I shot last year was 13 inches, but had double the mass. Super awesome. Okay, let me answer your question. My favorite hunt right now from Africa was my giant eland last summer or 2 summers ago with Melissa. So I shot him at 6 times at 564 yards. I shot him 6 times. And he died at 8,600 foot elevation.
Wow.
At sunset. And we got to him, and I looked at Dave, my PH, and I said, we made a mistake. He goes, we have made a tremendous mistake. I said, where's Melissa? He said, about 1.5 miles over there. And I said, what? He goes, see that Land Rover coming down the mountain? I said, oh, my God. And I said, how close are they going to be able to get to us? He said, about 1.5 miles away.
So they were as close as they were going to be able to get to you.
Yeah, they just came down the mountain and went down to the base of the one that we were on.
Okay.
And so, like, and the temperature was dropping, and like, dude, when I say covered in sweat, I'm talking about you could wring it out. And so the temp's dropping, and then Hugh Boy, who we were hunting the cowie, and Hugh Boy, whose family owns that farm, working farm, he had skinners and trackers coming up this way. Melissa and Chris, which isn't his real name, he's a skinner, he's some Zimbabwean name, they're coming up this way. And everyone's kind of yelling back and forth to let everyone know where we are. But there was 3 people yelling, 3 groups yelling, and everyone was confused. And dude, you want to talk about walking through some gnarly stuff, man? Good God. Everything in Africa wants to kill you or hurt you or make you sore or sting. And when she finally got, and my wife has owned a CrossFit gym for 15 years. She's about as in shape as anyone you're going to meet. She doesn't get, I mean, she gets tired like everyone else, but like she's just tough and has tremendous endurance. And she finally made it up to us, and she goes, I'm going to kill you. And I went, look at this thing. She goes, but I'm not, because I love you. And she handed me a dry hoodie. And I thought, this is a great woman. Anyway. So,
she loves me.
Yeah, she does. She loves me. So I'm about as strong as anyone needs to be. I would competed in powerlifting. I would say probably top 1% in the world. Okay. Squat 600 pounds. I mean, can still squat 5, and I haven't competed in powerlifting in 7 years. I was incapable of moving this animal, any part of his body, for a photo. Like, it was on a little bit of a slant or a little bit of slight decline, and just, you don't understand how big and heavy these things are, man. Like, it's crazy. So that was awesome.
And what was it again? You said
a giant eland, Eland, giant eland. It looks like a 6 foot tall Brahma bull. They're huge.
Oh wow.
So actually, my favorite kill in Africa was 2017, and yep. There you go.
Sorry, just to like you see the picture of them, like, oh yeah, they look big, but then when you see like this one right here, I don't know why it's not. Oh, because I'm clicking on.
Those aren't huge, Eland.
That's not.
No, those are. I mean, they're decent sized. Like that one bedded down here, that's a decent size. Those aren't huge ones. They're monstrous. This one with the red frock right here, second row, come down, right here to the left of that one, right there.
Oh yeah,
that's a good one. That's a big boy. So you don't judge them by the horns; you judge them by the scruff. That's another good one right here, 2 to the right.
Right there.
No, go left one. Go right one. Left two.
That one?
Nope, left two. That's a decent size one. Right here, that one. Yeah, yeah, that one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, they're a large animal. You couldn't budget.
No, God, no, hell no.
That's bonkers.
My favorite kill was dropping and killing a massive giraffe with one shot while he was running full speed.
Wow.
Just snapshotting, boom, dead, heart and lungs. And Vasa, he goes, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've never seen anything like that happen in my life. And I was like, I just got lucky.
You seem to get lucky a lot.
Yeah, you put yourself in the right position, dude. Luck happens. Like, what is that? Hard work and opportunity. That's what creates luck.
Yeah.
But I've also I've screwed up a bunch of shots over there and missed stuff. And dude, I shot an Eland, not an Eland, an Impala. Shot at an Impala who was walking to the water hole. He was 4 feet from the water trough, and he was going to stop and drink there. And I shot while he was walking. I had to wait literally 2 seconds, and he would have stopped and drank water. But my impatient self sent one, and I've never seen an arrow shaft bounce off the brisket of an animal. He walked into the middle of the shaft, and it bounced. The broadhead didn't touch him. The fletching didn't touch him. Like the shaft bounced off his chest. And my buddy Michael looked at me and he goes, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know. I screwed that up." He's like, "Yeah, man, get it together." But yeah, dude, my favorite hunts over there by far are the ones that I've gone on where I took a group of friends that have never been. That is something, and you're talking to someone that has partied in their younger years and done recreational drugs for fun. And there is no drug on this planet that holds a candle to seeing people in Africa hunt true hunters for the first time that are there. You've been talking about it for 6, 7, 8 months leading up to the trip, and you're on the ground and you're in a ground blind with them bow hunting or riding around, and you can't duplicate it because they're like, day one, what is that? That's an Impala. Can I shoot it? Well, yeah, but maybe we wait for a better Impala to show up. They're like, all right. And then the next day they've seen 400 Impala by now. You know what I mean? But like you see them with their first time they've shot the first time they're over and they see these animals that they've never seen. They've only seen pictures of. And it's just like,
I can relate to that because like I'm new to hunting. I didn't grow up hunting. I mean, we grew up playing sports, spent the weekends at the lake, right? And the very first hunt that I went on with my son and his friend, we're up in the timbers, and it's the last day of the archery hunt, and this massive bull comes in, and 30 yards. Well, they were down looking for these wallows we were trying to get down to. And anyway, long story short, it just sounds like a freight train, branches snapping. He wasn't bugling or anything, but I was just like, what on earth is this that's coming through this freaking timbers here? Anyway, I see him, range him 30 yards. He goes to step into an opening, and I feel wind hit the back of my neck, and he stops. I mean, big old massive rack, and like he turns, looks at me for a split second, and it felt like 30 seconds, but it was kind of like you said, it was just like an instant, and then he was gone. But it hooked me, man. I was like, this is amazing. I
tell people all the time, like, your story, it's like, oh man, what a tragedy. It's like, no, dude, that's not a tragedy. That's probably the best thing ever happened to you, you know? Like,
oh yeah.
So, because you learn from now, if you don't learn from that, and the wind shifting is nothing. There's nothing you could do about that. But like, you step on a twig, you make noise, you move, you get impatient. Like, as long as you're learning from your mistakes, man, it makes everything better. And like,
well, just seeing that animal in the wild at 30 yards with me, like at full draw, I didn't have a shot on vitals. I had no shot on vitals because he was in scrub oak, right? Yeah. But just like the primal man in me, I'm like, oh, this is what it must have been like.
Yeah,
Like,
I've done it. I've almost done it. If I can, I've been 30 yards from one, a big one. I've been in a position to kill a big one, minus a couple things I had no control over. And you just learn from that. Like, I think that builds confidence. And so the next time you're in that situation, you'll hope the wind doesn't shift. But you know what I mean? Like, the fact that you didn't take the shot, that's a win. That's a victory. It's counting coup, man, as far as I'm concerned. You know?
yeah.
I took a vow. I made a promise to myself like 4 years ago. I'm probably going to do that this season too. But my goal that year was to make perfect decisions. I didn't care about anything else other than making perfect decisions. And believe it or not, that's the most successful hunting season I've ever had because I killed that big elk. I killed a really nice 4x4 in full velvet in Nebraska by making perfect decisions. Killed my whitetail that's on the wall, my favorite top two favorite whitetails, over there on the wall by making a perfect decision. And that was not to shoot. And then the mule deer, the perfect decision was to back out. I didn't have a shot. I wasn't going to be able to get any closer. He wasn't going to come any closer. And I was like, all I'll do is spook him if I press. So I backed out there. I killed a 400-pound. The day after I shot that big elk, I killed a 400-pound color-faced black bear in Colorado. And that's the best thing you can do is like focus on what you can control, which is making really, really good decisions.
So, Baker, let me ask you this. For somebody who's newer to hunting that might be listening to this.
Yep.
And we've had people that I've talked to that it's like, hey, you overanalyze things, right? And and I do. Like where do you find a way to strike that balance between making perfect decisions and overanalyzing a situation?
Very, very fantastic. Wonderful question. And I have an even better answer for you. Just be honest with yourself. You have to remove what you want from the equation and just literally analyze these are the ingredients I'm working with. Is this enough to bake this cake right now? Can I bake this cake? If I have this, will this bake a cake? And 9 times out of 10, you don't have all the ingredients to bake the cake. So what you have to do is opt not to bake the cake. If the conditions aren't right, you don't hunt. If the wind's wrong, you don't go after the animal. Like, I don't overanalyze anything in life. Like I tend to underanalyze things. So I think the answer to your question is just be honest in your assessment of the ingredients you have. Do you have enough to bake your cake? Probably not. So put the stuff up and
don't cook.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to mess things up. So
I think it goes back to kind of what you were talking about with what you do as far as your consulting that you do with businesses. It's I think a lot of times people look at all the multiple different scenarios and it's like, just keep it simple. Like, what's the simple answer? Like you said, do I have the ingredients to cook? And if so, then let's get after it. If we don't, then don't.
The higher the level, the higher level you go in business, the more educated and the more robust the resume is of the person that you're talking to, the more complicated they want to see things. And the reason they do that is because they want to justify the expense. So like, think about like a YouTube thumbnail. Like let's say you hire someone to make a YouTube thumbnail for you and they're charging you $1,000 per thumb. You're going to pay them $1,000 per thumbnail because there's nothing more important than a thumbnail. And they make these complex, complicated thumbnails versus the most effective one because they want to justify the cost. So if I'm paying someone for something, I want the finished product as quickly as possible. So it's like real estate. I list your house for sale. You're going to pay me 6% commission, and I sell your house on the second day. And you're going to be like, well, you're going to give me a discount on my commission? Of course not. I'm going to ask you for a bonus because I sold it in 2 days. And most people, they don't really understand that. Like they need things to be complicated because simple things make people, hold on. Hey, stop wrestling. Some people just, the more complicated and complex, the more sophisticated it is to them. And that way it justifies the cost. Like they don't understand that. I have a thing called the black box theory. So A plus B equals C. You're giving me A to work with. The desired outcome is C. What does success look like? Give me, if you deliver this, that's success. Okay, so C is success. A plus B. B is what I do. You don't need to worry about what I do or how I do it or even try to understand it because I don't even know what I do half the time. I just know that if you give me A and you want me to deliver C, I'll get you C, and I'm going to figure it out inside that black box inside of B. And most people, they just can't comprehend that. And so they tend to overcomplicate things. They need things to seem complicated because they're a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company and they went to Kellogg Business School at Northwestern and their undergrad is at Yale and they have this insane resume and they got to show their board and all this crazy stuff. And these people, they need things to be dressed up. They can't handle. The beauty is in the simplicity as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I got a story I can share with you after the podcast.
No. You can tell me now. We're just talking. What's your story? I want to hear it.
Well, so I've just recently been asked to take over this company, and they own Spanish radio stations in the Salt Lake market. And when I went in there, I knew that because like I met my staff and there was only one person that spoke English and the rest didn't. And so I'm going, I have an issue. Anyway, what transpired over the weekend transpired with the riots in LA and stuff like that. And so the ownership calls me and they're like, hey, do you think we have an issue? And I'm like, we have an issue. I'm like, no one's told me what is and who isn't. Anyway, long story short, we have some people that are not here legally working on the staff and good folks, but they're still here illegal.
Right.
And two of them are on-air talent. And the long and the short of it is we spend hours talking about like, hey, how do we address this? And with the management. And I'm like, well, they're like, we're going to talk to the attorneys and blah, 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 blah. Well, two of them, they're just not going to be, they're not employed anymore. Yeah. I went in this morning. I was like, I need to know everybody's status. Like, well, I'm on a travel visa. So you can't legally work here. No. I'm like, can you go back home and let us work on getting you a work visa? Because they are good employees. Like they don't have like a criminal background. They don't have anything like that. They've been working with the company for 8 years, but in Mexico versus here in the United States. And anyway, so I pulled him in. I was like, can you go home? Yes. Okay. Can you do this job remotely? Yes. Great. Go do that. And let's work on getting you back in here legally so that you don't have to walk around looking over your shoulder 24/7. That way, like the company owner is holding up to their values and things that they want to instill. And anyway, like I said, there was a back and forth that went kind of on and on about like, hey, how do we approach it? And I was just like, I'm just going to sit down and ask them what the status is. And like, let's get you like set up right. So
set up for success.
Yeah. It was just a simple question. Are you here legally? Are you able to do the job legally, or do we have a problem? The ones that are like, I'm not going back. I mean, well, you can't be employed with us, and they're technically not employed. That's the thing is it's like we were taking advantage of the system because according to my understandings, if they're a contract, they're not an employee, they're, a contract I-10, like we're not paying them. They have to report their own taxes, yada, yada, yada. I'm not a brilliant guy. I didn't go to, I went to some college, but I'm also I'm scrappy. I've been in sales my entire life. sold radio stations for 8 years. Out here in Utah, I ran KSL.com, the classified sections for 8 years. I just work and get it done. Like that's kind of been my background. And anyway, so that's like kind of like my full-time gig, but it was just simple. I mean, we could have like, well, let's talk the attorneys. I'm like, well, let's just sit down and ask them what their status is.
Yeah, find a solution. A monkey can identify a problem. It takes talent to solve problems. And listen, problem solvers, the two most valuable things a company can have. The most valuable thing in the world is a person that has the ability to execute on ideas. If you can get the ball if you can get the ball into the end zone, you cannot be replaced, because the ability to execute is a God-given talent. Most people in companies don't have a lot of those people. And then the other one is like anyone can identify a problem. And in fact, there's probably everyone on this planet has the ability to do that. And a lot of people do it as think that's their job, is to talk about problems. But if you can't solve a problem, you have no value. So solving problems, and like you just said, like to the layman, that sounds really, really complicated. Like, oh my God, an illegal alien. What's going to happen? Are we going to get raided? And you're like, well, let's just, rather than be a jerk about it, it's like, hey, what's your status? And what's interesting is most people that come here illegally are very honest about their status.
Yeah. They didn't even hesitate.
Yeah.
They're like, no. And it was like, oh, okay, well, that was easy. Are you on a travel visa? Yes. Has it expired? No. Go home. Like we'll help you buy a plane ticket. You don't have to do the self-deportation, and then we're going to work through the proper legal channels to try and get you back here on a legitimate work visa, to where you're not everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Is the ICE team going to come get me?
Yeah, it's crazy. The whole thing about what's going on in LA is like those three, they were raiding like 3 cartel-based businesses. It wasn't an illegal immigrant raid. That wasn't the original purpose. They were
I know.
Looking at,
but it's the narrative. It's the narrative that, yeah.
And people are saying like, oh, it wasn't a. Hold on, let me let my wife in the house. 1 second. Sorry. So, yeah, it's the narrative. That's all they want is a narrative. It's like, it's funny. It's like you hear about all this stuff with like USAID. Like you hear about all those crazy stories and like what it's.
Yeah.
That's not what USAID is for, right? Like, making vegan yogurt in Burma with, transgender people.
Oh, yeah.
That's not what that money goes to. Like that money's used to pay off a warlord or something. Like some Zoomer just on that invoice put something cutesy. And like foreign aid, like you hear a lot of people talking about foreign aid and like all this other crazy stuff that's just not what it seems. And then you have some talking points. Hold on 1 second. International assistance. So America's safer when we lead abroad. Soft power prevents hard wars. Helping others fight their battles keeps our sons and daughters out of combat. So like when we pay off a warlord in one country to go fight another, evil tribe or tribe of bad guys, like that's something we don't have to do. America first means showing up. We don't lead, China will. China and Russia are filling every void that we leave. Like if we retreat, they advance. International assistance is a strategic tool. It's not a handout. And when America invests smartly abroad, it pays off here at home. International assistance strengthens our economy. Farmers and manufacturers lose out when we step back. Stopping drugs and disease at the source protects American communities. And that is the beauty of foreign aid, which is something that you hear people talking about and they want to get rid of all of it. You can't do that. Like you can't. It doesn't work that way.
I mean, it sounds nice.
It sounds really nice, but like,
but it's not the reality.
Yeah, no, it's not the reality at all.
And that's the thing is, but you have people that are out there, and like, I don't have a political background, but I'm like a total news junkie. And I mean, I can get into the weeds on some of this stuff, but I'm shocked at the amount of people that I don't even, they're just completely disconnected. They're still watching the mainstream news and thinking that they're like being fair and biased. And it's just, it's a joke. It's like, I think this is me personally. I could be completely wrong, but I think this whole Elon and Trump thing is like a charade to get the left to ask for, we want the list. We want, like, it's a game. I think Trump.
I agree. The only thing about that I disagree with. I was saying the same thing you were. There's just one thing Elon said that's a no-no, which is saying Trump was on the Epstein list and
Which he deleted that tweet.
But he still said it, and that to me, that because Trump is big time into like taking care of kids and stuff. Like he's really into that. And Epstein was banned from any and all of Trump's clubs. But aside from that one thing, and then them pulling the nomination for Jared Isaacman, the guy to lead NASA, on Friday night, that was not a charade. And that was a massive mistake by the Trump administration. That was an unforced error. Jared Isaacman is by far and away the most qualified person that has ever been pegged to lead NASA in the history of the organization. He's a personal friend. I know the man personally. He's the most qualified person that Trump has nominated in this administration. And then they pulled that, which really set Elon off. And then the thing about the Epstein list. But I am with you on that, though, about like if it came out tomorrow and they were like, you fools, it was an act. But then again, Kash Patel was on Rogan saying that the Epstein, they didn't have any felonious videos.
Okay, so that whole thing, he contradicted himself a couple times on there.
Yeah, but that plays into your theory. Because if he says he hasn't seen anything, then...
Well, he says he hasn't, but he also says that he has. Because he's on there, he's like, of all the people that have been talking about this and out there pushing the narrative, you'd think that if I didn't have evidence, I wouldn't release it. And then prior to that, he goes, look, we're not going to re-victimize these people. So that was the one thing that, to me, where he kind of did a little double talk on there. And I'm not saying that he's not. And Joe even pressed him on it. He's like, well, wait a second. Like, if you're not going to victimize him, but he also didn't press him too hard on it.
Yeah, but if you don't want to victimize them, black out their names. That's not modern technology. They've been doing that since the 60s. You just black out their name. Yeah.
Right, but then he goes like, maybe they're not minors, maybe it's just illicit activities.
Yeah, but they're not going to release the videos. That's what everyone needs to understand. Like at no point ever were they like, yeah, we're going to release a bunch of videos of Epstein getting it on with underage girls. That's never that like what? No,
right.
So
right.
Dude, to your point, man, it is a bunch of just insane doublespeak, but. We knew that Trump's name was in the Epstein files because I think he flew on his jet like once or twice, but he never went to the island. And Trump,
dude's a billionaire out of New York.
Yeah, he socialized with every high roller, but like he also outlawed Epstein from all of his clubs. So
I had not heard that.
Oh, for sure. Oh yeah.
It doesn't surprise me, but yeah.
So, would it shock me if that was an op? No, not at all. It wouldn't. I would be like, oh wow, I can't believe Elon. Now, if it came out that Trump, we all know Trump's name's on the list, but like if they had dirt on the guy, the previous administration would have dumped that.
100%, 100%.
So everything.
You think they're going to sit on that during an election period?
No way.
Ain't no way.
Yeah. So definitely could be an op. because like Tesla stock's pumping now. They've both kind of, Trump's like, I'm not selling my Tesla anymore. Like, when's the last time Donald Trump drove a car anyway? You know, I would love to know the answer to that question. Like, Mr. Trump, when is the last time you actually drove somewhere? I bet you it's been decades.
Oh, I'm sure.
Decades.
Like 4 maybe.
Yeah, I bet. 'Cause he used to roll around in limos and stuff back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, back when he was in when he was like the belle of the ball with The Apprentice and everything else, like that guy. I mean,
yeah, he was awesome. But yeah. So there's a bunch of crazy. Like here's a good one. I got some more talking points. Let me go over these. So like the big beautiful tax bill. So going back to Elon and Trump, like notice Elon has kind of changed his tune. He's like the one because Adam Schiff endorsed came out against the bill, and Elon said, "There's no person on this planet that can convince me to change my mind like Adam Schiff agreeing with something I said." So, so the big beautiful bill does not raise taxes on carried interest, which is great news. President Trump deserves tremendous credit for knowing raising taxes on carried interest would be a terrible idea for Main Street, despite what a few staffers around him were saying to the contrary. Private equity investment is happening on Main Street in America. Private equity investment is a much more common occurrence in communities around America than people realize. Case in point, the private equity industry employs over 13 million people across the country. Private equity was a big lifeline for small businesses during COVID. That is 100% true. Private equity keeps a lot of businesses open, saving those jobs and keeping the community served. So there's tons of small businesses out there across the country that would 100% be shut down and go out of business if it weren't for private equity investing in their companies. One of my companies that started in 2011, Killcliff, like we reached out to private equity when we hit a certain point and we needed more cash to go into retail. So you think about the people who built a business and wanted to retire and wouldn't have had anyone to keep it going, and all these employees just lose their job. Think about people who run through a tough patch or something like COVID comes along and you need money, then interest rates are through the roof. There's a lot of Americans with jobs today because private equity stepped in to support small businesses. So carried interest loophole, Trump wanted to get rid of it. Then he realized how important private equity is. It was a very smart move on his part. They're not getting rid of that in the big, beautiful bill. There's some stuff in the bill that's not great, like increasing the debt, but listening to Scott Bessent talk about raising the debt ceiling, increasing debt, but I think that's short term. And if they do, and in doing so, they'll be able to pay down debt drastically in the latter 2 years. So, yeah, it's all smoke and mirrors, and one side talks out of this side of the mouth, and the other side talks out of this side of the mouth, and no one really knows what anybody's talking about or what's real.
I look, I think, I think that Trump is the ultimate gamesman.
Oh, for sure.
I think that this goes back to the feud between him and Elon.
Mm-hmm.
I think Trump will make moves without bringing everybody into what's going on.
True.
You know, because and I think sometimes he tries to play the dummy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because it's who was it? Bill Maher. I was watching him. I don't know if you saw his monologue he did after he went and had
Absolutely.
dinner. He's like, who the hell is that guy? He goes, I do feel better like seeing the guy that I sat with, but I'm like, why does he never show that side to the public? I'm like, because he shows it to the people that need to see it.
He said,
which is the other world leaders.
Because the guy that I hate wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I like how Bill Maher pulled out a list of all the horrible things Trump said about him and handed it to him, and Trump signed it and gave it back to him.
Yeah. He's like, and they had, and look, and he I think he, from what I recall from the interview or his monologue, he even said like he insulted the president. Like he tried to get him to react. And Trump's response was he just laughed, because I think Trump's MO is, hey, look, if I've got people in the public space talking about me, like there's no bad PR. And I think he genuinely believes that there's no bad PR.
No,
because
there's no such thing as bad PR. If you read The Art of the Deal, Donald Trump has been Subop, get out of here. Donald Trump has been fighting with the media or fighting with celebrities and politicians in the media his entire life. He has used celebrities and the media, magazines, newspapers, and the news, talk shows, as a tool. He was the master of it. Read the art. If anyone listening, read The Art of the Deal. Whether you like Trump or don't, if you read Art of the Deal, you will understand how he operates. You're not going to learn anything about business. You're going to learn about how he works.
Yeah, well, and it makes sense. It goes to your point of what he's been doing with people his entire professional career, is because there was I can't remember where it was. There was a plaza that was being built, and it was already like 4 years overdue. And he got into it with the mayor, and they're like, "You think you could do better? Come and take it over."
Oh, you're talking about the skating rink. You're talking about in New York City?
Yeah.
Ed Koch. He fought with Ed Koch for 3 decades.
Exactly. Like, and then finally he's like, "Oh, you think you can do it better? Come take it over." And I think he said that he'd have it done in 2 years, and it was like 6 months, I think.
And under budget.
Yeah, and under budget.
And the same thing can be said. It was like a plaza that had the ice skating rink.
Yeah.
And he looked out his window and could see it constantly. It was driving him crazy. He's like, I can do this in no time. And he kept hounding him and fighting with him in the media and insulting him. And finally, Ed Koch was like, all right, fine, you do it. And then they did it and had a lease on it for like 40 years or something where they ran.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Yeah, he did that as a favor to New York. So, he's great.
Well, but also it got him publicity. I mean, him and Ed Koch going at it, and then, but here's the other thing: is he delivered on what he said he was going to do, and he did it in a less amount of time than what he said he'd do it, and under budget. And it's that type of mentality, I think, that people forget. Because I mean, I get it. There's times where I'm like, oh, dude, just do the job. But that's how he does the job. It's how he gets everything done that he wants done.
100%. He's fantastic.
Anyway,
fantastic.
So, well, Baker, man, hey, I really appreciate you taking the time. On the hunting side of things, for somebody that's new to hunting, outside of having the Midas touch like you seem to have with the hard work and taking advantage of the opportunities, what advice would you leave to new hunters?
You're never going to kill anything sitting your fat ass on a couch. Go get out in the field, shoot your bow. There's a ton of stuff you can do. Just be active, and if it's something that you want to do, you will find a way to do it. So just go, make friends, go hunt public land, hunt WMAs, read as much as you can, educate yourself. But the greatest teacher is failure. So if you show me someone that has never failed at anything, I'll show you someone that I have zero interest in hanging out with, because you're not going to learn anything from it. So just go spend time in the field, spend time at the archery shops, spend time at the gun range. Like, go meet people, go talk to people. Don't be a knot on a log, and don't sit on the couch. Like, you're never going to kill anything. You're never going to find success sitting on the couch when everyone else is out in the field. And if it's hard, and it's wet, and it's cold, just pretend like, like, yeah, I can do this. Like, because I'm sure everyone has friends that are SEALs, and when I go do stuff and it's wet and rainy, I'm like, yeah, if so-and-so could do this, I could do it. I'm not having fun, but I'm not going to leave because I know that they wouldn't leave. And by God, I'm not going to quit. So, but yeah, just go out, go fail, make mistakes. That's how you learn. Have fun. But now here's the thing. If you don't like it, don't do it. Don't do something because out of sense of obligation or you feel that you should be doing something. Do things that you want to do. Life is too short. Like, I don't do things I don't want to do. Like, if I don't like something, I'm not doing it. Ask my wife. I will not. I don't care. I'm too old. Dude, I have done things my way my entire life, and it has always worked out for me. And I'm not changing. I'm going to do things the way that I want to do them. and I'm going to do what I want to do because I've turned 50. What do I have? 20 more summers left, till I'm like 70, it's 25 more summers. I'm in good shape. I'll continue to be in good shape, but like, I got 25 more summers, man. Like, I'm not going to do something I don't want to do. That's stupid. Like, I don't like drinking anymore. So I don't really drink much, like I don't like what I do when I travel for work and stuff. Yeah, I'll have some drinks, but like, I'm not going to a bar because I feel like shit the next day. So I don't do those things,
Yeah.
Do what you want to do. Have fun, man. Go out and make mistakes and fail. And eventually you'll get closer to success.
I think that's great advice. Well said, Baker.
Yeah, man.
You
Thanks
guys,
for having me.
yeah, no, really appreciate you taking the time and coming on. You guys, hey, go give Baker a follow on Instagram. It's Black Baker. We'll put a link in the show notes. Go out, support Black Rifle Coffee. Those guys are awesome, and you want to look at some good marketing, just follow their Instagram account. You'll never be short of a laugh. But if you guys have learned anything and you feel that, there's a message that you've heard in here that you could share with somebody, please share the podcast with them. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, anywhere the podcasts are listened, or you can listen to them. But really appreciate the support. Stay safe and God bless.